Robert Collins, author of Greater Thoughts, is also a motivational speaker and a mind coach, helping you to untrap your mind. In order to elevate your team, your organization, or your business, visit Robert Collins on theuntrappedmind.com or follow him on Instagram at Greater7Thoughts. That's greater, the number 7 thoughts. Robert Collins says, all success starts with a thought. Now turn that thought into action and go be great.
Good morning, good morning. It is your host, Mr. RC. You have just tuned in once again to the Greater Thoughts Morning Show. And I know that you could be listening to any other show on the radio, but you choose to listen to me today. So I want you to know that I am once again eternally grateful for all of the people listening. Today, it's not me in the building by myself. I have a wonderful guest, a young man from here in the state of North Carolina. Small town growing, humble beginnings is what I say for the folks that come from small towns. But he's doing a lot of great things here in the city of Charlotte. I like to bring to you guys, people from the city of Charlotte to really give an understanding of some of the things that's going on here in the city, some of the things that are up and coming, and the future. And this young man, I believe that what he's doing is going to continue to cultivate the future for the youth. This man is Mr. Lee Williams. How you doing, Lee?
I'm well. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I'm glad to have you in the building. I've been wanting to get you in here for a little while, to be honest with you.
Man, you know how it is. Time constraints, schedules, kids, everything, man.
L-I-F-E.
Yep.
It gets real serious, especially when you're a businessman, you're an entrepreneur, and, these kids have their own schedules, and we have to, the kids' schedules be more intense than the adult schedules.
Don't it? Well, you got more than me, so I know.
Yeah, well, I definitely have, my share of children. Everybody seems to always bring that up. I can't help that I had a 2-for-1 at one of these opportunities of having a child. When twins come about, you can't prepare for that.
I don't even want to know.
But look, if you have a set of twins, you could catch me. Yeah,
easy.
Yeah, you're not too old for that yet.
No, I'm not. Don't worry, I'm done. I am done.
So let's just jump right into it. How many kids do you have?
I got 2 kids, man. Wife and 2 kids.
So wife and 2 kids. And what are their ages?
Kid is my son is 9 and my daughter is 11.
Okay. And what are they doing as far as the extracurricular activities right now?
Oh man, they're doing sports. My son is in track right now, and my daughter's in AAU basketball right now.
So she plays AAU basketball.
Yeah, now she's in AAU. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So speaking of sports, let's start there. You look like you work out a little bit, Lee.
Oh man,
what sports did you play?
Oh well, I played all the sports growing up. Football, basketball, golf, track. I did 4 sports in high school for at least a year, but my main sport was football. That's why I got a scholarship, went to the University of Richmond, played 4 years or 3 years there. Got a couple looks in the NFL, but that didn't work out. But
you had some workouts?
Yeah. With the Panthers actually. They had worked me out. Tampa Bay, I had worked out for them too, but none of it really came through. So as soon as that happened, I didn't keep trying because I knew I could have kept trying. I had a bunch of boys that were still trying and stuff like that to get in there, and I was like, I gave them my best at that time. Let's move on and do something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what town are you from? What high school did you go to?
I went to Union Pines High School, Vikings.
So in Chicago, that's like the thing. Whenever you meet somebody, you're in another place, and you meet somebody from Chicago, the first thing you want to know is
what high school
did they go to. You find out where they from,
Yeah.
So you were in a town called
Carthage, North Carolina.
And Carthage is located where, for those that don't know? Is that like Raleigh, Greensboro?
It's about 30 minutes from Fayetteville, 45 minutes from Raleigh, about an hour from Greensboro. It's kind of in the middle of all those places right there. So we had several different places we could go when we were kids to travel, go shopping and stuff. But Carthage is a town of, when I was there, it was like 1,000 people, one stoplight. Now I think it's maybe a couple thousand people with 2-3 stoplights. So we
Okay,
done
so
came up.
it's growing.
We
It's
done came
growing.
up. Yeah, oh, it's
I,
booming.
that's right.
Booming past 20 years.
There it is. There it is. So the reason I want to have you come in is not really just dive all into your past, but really talk about what you're doing now.
Oh yeah.
And let me tell you, everyone, when you see this P and the number 1, you know that's Mr. Lee Williams and his team. P1 positive 1.
Yep.
If you will, let's talk about P1. Let's talk about, but if you will, at first, share with me, what it was, I guess the vision that you had that brought it about.
It was a couple of things. One, like we just talked about off air, my father, he was an educator. He was like a counselor in the county where he always went around and talked to like kids who had adverse backgrounds, stuff like that he dealt with in the school programs within Moore County. My mom, she was always an activist and still is to this day, activist in the community, NAACP, and whatever has to do with something with community activists. When I was a kid, she would take in any kids that didn't have a home and stuff like that. So I came from like that background. I didn't really know it was until obviously I got older. Okay. And that's kind of what I wanted to do. But with Positive One, me and my business partner, Mark Frazier, we worked at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, for I worked there for 8 years. He worked for 17 years. He was a district manager. And we became pretty cool and stuff. And I had already left that company and been working somewhere else. But we linked back up again. We just kind of, and we'd always been cool, but we had a definite desire to see our people do well, especially young Black males do well. I had just bought a house where I live, and he had just bought a house where he had lived. We were both, making 6 figures, etc. And just wondered why we didn't feel like it was hard, but we wondered why we didn't see a lot of people like us, especially Black males, doing things like that around us. And we wanted to see, a neighbor be there, especially Black people, because we were talking like, hey man, have you ever seen a all Black wealthy neighborhood before? And I didn't travel the country, and I think the closest I seen when I was in PG County in DC, when I went to visit a female back when I was in college, and I was in awe of just seeing Black people and people that look like us doing well. Mm-hmm. And it was very foreign to me. And so it was on my back porch back in August of 2014. And it started right then. At that point, it started right then because we had just this conversation that was just enlightening, and like we should do something and not just sit here and talk about it. And from there, we started building it out for the next year and a half every Sunday morning. And we came up with our mission statement, which was to empower and encourage people to think positively by building up their self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-worth. That was for most of like adults types of things and stuff like that. And we just handled everything in that nature. And that just meant about, creating your mindset. So by creating your mindset, we had to, fill it out a little bit more so that people could understand. And that's when we started making our principles of Positive One. And that right there became a foundation of like our thought patterns and how we lived our life, and hope we could guide other people through those thought patterns and be able to have their own type of principle or foundation of their life. It don't have to be what ours is, but it's a guide and a map to be able to control your thoughts, to have greater thoughts, basically, and give people a roadmap to that. We did that with Mecklenburg County. We had jail a class in the adult jail and a class in the youth jail. Different types of classes, but still the same concepts of having people understand that what their self-awareness, self-confidence, and self-worth, how those things can build you into a whole person. So that's where it started. with me and Mark, but it's evolved to so many more things from since then, like our nonprofit, the On My Genius campaign, which is really the biggest thing that we're doing right now since 2020 came.
That's good. That's good. Um, I need to go ahead and get you to do this right now. If anyone wanted to donate to the nonprofit, how would they do that?
Oh, they could go to omgcampaign.org. It's omgcampaign.org. And you can, it's on the first page. You can donate right there. We're doing a lot of things in the community right now. What the biggest thing we're doing right now is we have a class at Highland Creek Elementary School every Monday. We're teaching them out of our book, Lessons of Self-Discovery, and we're teaching them self-awareness, accountability, and responsibility. Those things are foundational needs for our youth, especially our young Black boys. So right now, that's the biggest thing that we've been doing, the most consistent thing. We already still have our music program over on the West Side. So it's a lot of things still going on, and we're trying to like get the next generation now, starting with 4th grade, because now our guys that we have right now, about 10 to 12 of them are all sophomores, juniors, seniors. Some graduated. RJ's graduated, going to college. We got 2 at Winston-Salem State right now. So we're just trying to help those kids come back and talk into the class and be able to talk to our the younger generation who just now starting the program.
So more or less, pay it forward.
Yes. Yeah.
Pay it forward.
Yeah.
And since you went ahead and mentioned it, my son has been involved in P1 for quite a long time now.
Oh yeah.
And he's involved in not just only the music, but in other sectors of P1 as well, going out to the schools and speaking to the children.
Yep.
And,
you gotta stagger it, man. They gotta be able to see something. There's gotta be people in these generations, because they think we old now. I'm 44, so
you're
we
now.
Yeah, we just old. My kids say I'm old. I'm like, all right, whatever.
My daughter told me the other day that I'm 47, so I have 3 more years to be young.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Once I reach 50, it's over with for me. Yeah. I am now an old man once I reach 50.
Yeah.
And she told me, but you know what? You really don't even have 3 years, because you'll be 48 in a couple of months.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if you will, tell me a little bit more about the classes that are going on.
All right.
Is there a certain age group for those classes, for people in the city that are interested in coming to the class?
Well, the classes are, so like before, the classes are in like school time, so you can't really come to those classes there. The whole idea that we're trying to do now is really continue with getting into the schools to make what we're doing, Lessons of Self-Discovery, a part of our a curriculum for the school during their downtime, because they have elective hours in elementary schools, and we're trying to put just a foundation of belief and understanding of accountability, responsibility, and self-awareness. Those are our 3 main pillars that we teach there, because a lot of times our kids aren't learning that, and they're not being taught that, so we can't hold them accountable if we haven't taught them those things. That's because good. They haven't been taught that, maybe by their parents, or maybe their parents don't even have that accountability, because we're living in a world where not a lot of people take personal responsibility and accountability for what their actions are. And it's kind of like, they complaining about the situation that they put themselves in without putting any accountability, and that's adults.
That's good, Lee. I actually talked about last week's show about trauma. And young people are dealing with trauma that come from their parents, and how to actually overcome the trauma from the youth. But a lot of the adults are dealing with trauma that they've had for 20, 30 years that they never dealt with, and now they're feeding it to their children.
Yes.
And because they never had take accountability, because at some point in time you have to be accountable for your actions in life. At some points in time you don't know how to be accountable, right? And so like what you're speaking of, your class to teach that accountability.
Yeah.
But at some point when you get to 20, 23, 25, 30 years old and you have children, you can't use the excuse of anymore, because you've had opportunities to learn, to be able to overcome the trauma that you've been through, instead of letting it hold you stagnant to the age of 13.
Yep.
So you haven't really grown mentally since the age of 13 when the trauma occurred, but now you have a 13-year-old child.
Yeah. And you can't move past that because you've never addressed those things as an adult, as a kid or adult, any of those times. And we're just passing that right down to the kid. And if the adult hasn't taught it, and there's no way for the kid to understand or learn it. Like, I've just understood this. I mean, we've dealt with over 400 kids in Charlotte area, and it's overwhelming that the kids have not been taught this thing. So we're holding them accountable like they've actually been taught what responsibility and self-awareness is, because a lot of the time, my wife's a teacher too, so a lot of times we think that kids should just get it. But if there's nobody there to instruct them on how to behave in certain situations, how to have emotional intelligence, defining what this self-awareness is, defining what being responsible is, showing action on what being responsible is, showing actions on what holding yourself accountable is, having principle, having some type of moral, giving them these things and programming it into their heads. If we don't got that, then it's gone over their head.
And then they're left with no accountability. And then they grow up to be the same
thing.
Adult.
Yep.
And now they're going to pass it along to their children. And in some ways, it's almost like a generational curse that needs to be broken, right?
It is, yeah. It is. And that's the only way that, well, not the only way. This is my way of giving that to our community.
That's good.
A lot of times, people always got a solution to something, but they don't never put no action to it, and you talk about it, but next thing you know, you're talking about it's been 2-3 years and the whole generation of kids have come through. They missed that short window because we've started at 13 before, but 4th grade, 5th grade is a sweet spot to where you still got some time to be able to grab them and talk to them, especially if they come from adverse situations, meaning poverty, etc., single parent homes and stuff like that. It's really tough to get in there unless you have a consistent understanding or a consistent, you're getting this consistently, because you're only going to be a part of what your environment is. So if 1 day out of 30 days is the only time you're going to get any type of information that's about accountability, responsibility, self-awareness, if it's only 1 day out of 30 days you're going to get that, you're probably not going to retain too much because you're not getting that the consistency of it. Yeah. So that's why we came to the schools, because now we know, and with our demographic that we're working with, we know every Monday for 18-week program, they're going to get something related to this. And now we can drill it into their mind, because learning is all about repetition. Learning is all about what you hear in your environment and who's keep pushing that to you. That's how kids learn stuff in school all the time.
That's how we learn our ABCs.
That's how we learn, is repetition.
That's it.
And we don't have any class that focuses on that type of mental self-awareness, thoughts, any of those things that are in our curriculum at school. So we are lucky enough to have funding enough to be able, I can have John, who's my basically a first mentee, he's 27 now, first mentee that we've had to teach these things now, because now he's gone through those courses. He's been through the whole gauntlet of everything for the past, he's been 9 years, almost 10 years now.
Okay.
So I did the first course this past semester, and now he's going to be able to take that and continue that with another group of 4th graders, and then we're going to continue with the 5th graders, and now have a 4th and a 5th grade class. So
that's good. That's good.
Hopefully, like I said, we're talking with the principal and stuff like that, and he wants to really get that moving. So, hopefully they can start being able to find funding to be able to make this a long-term type of thing.
Hopefully the funding will be there.
Yeah, well, that's,
you know,
how that
hopefully
goes.
the funding will be there.
Yeah.
You said something, man, and I just want to make sure that those that are listening that's able to pour into the OMG, the On My Genius, let me just say that, to pour into it is about catching the kids when they are at the impressionable phase. That's so important because you're right. And I speak to, you know, a lot of high school kids as well. And there is a difference in the amount of attention that they pay, the extra side conversations that's going on in the audience, I'll call it, versus kids lock in. You know, there's gonna always be the kid that's off.
Oh
off
yeah,
task.
you always have that. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, but kids lock in, especially if you're saying something that they can understand or grasp a hold of, and it makes a difference.
Yeah.
And now if you can, if a kid has the right mentors at a young age,
oh man,
it allows them to jump leaps and bounds over kids that don't have it.
And you just need one. You just need one person that care like that. I mean, that really is locked in with you. You just need one, and that kid will do wonders. That, like I said, that's why we started at 4th grade. Not saying that you can't get consistency with a 14-year-old or 15-year-old.
No, you can still get it there.
You can still do it, but we just found that it's a lot easier to be able to focus here at starting at 4th and 5th grade, because we have empirical evidence from when we started our program over on the west side of Charlotte back in 2018.
So let's talk about that if we can.
Okay.
You're on the west side of Charlotte. So for those of you that haven't been to Charlotte before, the west side is considered to be the side that's not as advanced, I'll say it that way, as other parts of Charlotte.
Yeah.
It's not like the South Park. It's not like the Ballantyne. It's not like those areas. And so when you hear people talk about the west side of Charlotte, it's a little bit different in the demographic. You have some young fellas I know of because of my son. That's over there. They have a rap group. And so when we talk about Positive One and on my Genius, I want you to share. We have about 7 minutes left, and our time is going fast.
Going fast, man.
Yeah. I want you to share about different avenues that you have available for the youth, and even get into the clothing line, if you will.
Yeah. So like we made this, we wanted to make it all encompassing of like fashion, culture, music, the things that kids actually listen to and get into, you know, and those things, they came from like me and Mark's time when we were teaching at the youth offenders classes in jail up at Jail North here in Mecklenburg County, and we just saw how they reacted to the music that they listened to. And it was drill music was huge at the time. And we saw how they reacted to that drill music. And we were like, we got to do something different. It just, I mean, it don't have to be just like, hey, I'm the greatest positive person ever. It just don't have to be shoot 'em up, kill 'em, all that stuff like that.
Sex, guns, and violence.
Yeah, it don't have to be all of that. So we wanted to give another option. And that's why we really started pushing our music and stuff like that. And it really stuck with 5 or 6 of them, actually 7 really, of them. And they have a group now under our umbrella. It's called On My Genius, OMG Young Guys, which stands for I'm missing my acronym. On My Genius, OMG Young Guys, and the guy stands for Genius of Divine Self. So all of them, in their music, they understand that they're the geniuses that are producing things that are coming out of their mouth. So everything that they have to say, that's genius if it has to do with something that is productive. And those things add up over time. And all of them are, I mean, like amazing. Like they've been doing this for 6-7 years. Like RJ has been rapping since he was 12.
Yeah.
They found a lot of outlets in that. A lot of therapy comes from that. A lot of them. A lot. I just got a fashion clothing line. A couple other my guys, some in college, got a clothing line. One of my guys in college, he's making pretty good money with his brand Dolo World. He's been doing that for 2 years now. So just teaching them how to embody themselves, and people are, if you are the one of the ones in life who is um a risk taker, and you don't care about what people might say about the things that you're doing, the more and more you're doing that stuff, the more you evolve within that stuff. And then there's something that comes out of that, that'll be different than most other people, because you've found the ability to focus on something. And I don't care what it is, whether it's music, whether it's clothes, whether it is um, graphic design, videography, all those things we offer in those classes. We just want to get them attached to something,
Yeah.
so they can start to learn what it takes to build something. They don't have to do this when they get older, but they'll understand what it takes to do that, to be able to find the expertise, focus on your craft, continue to work on your craft, and develop in your craft.
Yeah.
So that's the whole premise of that. It's not about the music. It is about trying to be able to guide them in a way that's going to be helpful to them for future endeavors and activities.
So the one thing that I do know from my son and conversations with my
Mhm.
son, and even listening to his music
Mm-hmm.
and the growth that he's had in music,
Mm-hmm.
musically in the group, is there's no profanity.
Oh no, because you don't need that. You don't need to have profanity to be able to express yourself. And we talk about that all the time. Not that, first of all, they're young, they shouldn't be cursing anyway. That we know that
Right.
happens. But
Right.
the thing is, he got RJ, like RJ's got little brothers, little sisters to listen to. All of my mentees and mentors got little brothers and little sisters to listen to, and all of them know the songs,
Mm-hmm.
so they can ran off the whole song, and there's no cursing, and there's more opportunities when you don't have that in there, because every other word ain't
Something that your mama don't want you to say.
exactly. And it's
Or your
all about
father.
those things. Yeah, you want to be able to do something that you can look back in 20 years and, hey, show your grandkids that, or show in 30 years, show your great grandkid, any of those things. You want to have something to be proud of, and it doesn't sometimes seem like in the moment, because it's not like the cool thing to say or do.
Yeah.
But in the long run, you can look back and be proud of yourself.
That's
about you
good.
did something, and that's what I'm trying to create for them.
No, it's not trying. It's actually
Yeah.
happening. So
Yeah.
let's remember that.
Yeah.
We all talk about
You're right.
speech and greater thoughts.
You're right.
It's
It is. That's what I'm doing for.
Yes, that's what you're doing. We have a couple minutes left, Lee, and
Mhm.
I'd like you to do two things for me, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Share with me how people can purchase the merch,
All right.
and tell me what's the goals for 25.
All right. You can go to on my genius, that's on my genius campaign.com. That's the nonprofit, but you can go to IamPositive1.com and just go to, it's got a P1 clothing, click on that. All the merch is there. Also got I Am Happy Tees, which is like my custom t-shirt company. So you can go there, IamHappyTees.com. We got plenty like inspirational shirts and stuff, or you can obviously get something custom made yourself with that too. In 2025, we've already had 2 album releases under the record label. And 2025, we're also, like I said, we have that program that's in Highland Creek Elementary School that we're trying to expand even more. So we're just going to keep on trying to expand that within the school system. We also have obviously a program over on the west side of Charlotte. Anybody needs to reach me, you can call my cell 704-618-0905. If you're talking about anything that's got to do with youth in the city, we got programs that we definitely will have. Every now and then we'll do more field trips and stuff like that, all depending on how the funding goes. But
right.
We got a good source of income to where we're able to sustain and still teach some content to the young youth here in Charlotte.
Well, Lee, thank you very much for coming in. I appreciate your time today.
Mhm.
But before we leave, I got to remind you one more thing.
What's that, Rob?
All success starts with a thought. Take those thoughts, turn them into action, and go be great. God bless.
Prosper. To become strong and flourishing. Cause to succeed or thrive. Prosper. Prosper. To succeed in enterprise or activity. To achieve economic success. See, I'm a heavyweight. I'm Tyson in this world.
In the silence of the night, when doubt creeps in, I hear that whispering voice pulling me from within. The weight of the world tries to break my soul, but I rise from the ashes, determined and whole.